And now let's have a recap of stories making headlines during the week.
On Monday, January 6, President Akufo-Addo formally handed over the keys of the seat of government, the Jubilee House, to the president-elect John Mahama to take over the reins of government after his inauguration on Tuesday, 7th January 2025. The office of the president has refuted reports circulating in the media that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has granted a presidential pardon to 11 individuals. In a statement issued on January 6, 2025, the Director of Communications at the Presidency, Mr. Eugene Ahin, clarified that the reports were inaccurate. The statement emphasized that President Akufo-Addo had not exercised his prerogative of mercy to pardon the individuals in question, as suggested by some media outlets. Earlier reports had claimed that the president had pardoned individuals, including William Atuesian, who was given 15-year sentence for his involvement in the collapse of Capital Bank. Other individuals allegedly included Philip Akpana Azebit, convicted in 2018 for financial loss to the state, and Akwesi Al-Hassan, a convicted murderer who had been serving a life sentence after a 1993 conviction. The office of the president urged the public to disregard any contrary information and to rely solely on official communications from the president's office. In the presence of hundreds of guests at the Black Star Square in Accra, President John Dramani Mahama took the oath of office to begin his 4-year term after a resounding victory in the 2024 general election. The heavily attended ceremony was garnished with the rich Ghanaian culture before an audience of African heads of state, foreign dignitaries and jubilant citizens. The Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu, administered the oath of allegiance to President John Dramani Mahama. In his inaugural speech, President Mahama outlined his vision for the nation, emphasizing unity, economic transformation, and resilience against global challenges. He reaffirmed his commitment to prioritizing the well-being of all Ghanaians while fostering development and opportunity. History was once again made on January 7, 2025, when Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman was sworn in as Ghana's first female vice president. Hundreds of guests converged on the Black Star Square in Accra to witness the swearing-in of Ghana's first female vice president, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, administered by the Chief Justice, Gertrude Isaba Tokonu. The Vice President took the oath of allegiance. Born on November 22, 1951 in Cape Coast, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has been a trailblazer in Ghana's academia and politics. She was the first female vice-chancellor of the University of Cape Coast from 2008 to 2012. She was Ghana's Minister for Education from 2013 to 2017. The swearing-in of Professor Opoku-Agyeman as the country's first female vice president is another feather in the country's cap of promoting gender inclusivity. It is also an inspiration to many females who are aspiring for leadership roles. The President of Nigeria, Bola Tinubu, says bilateral relations between Accra and Abuja will be further strengthened under he and President Mahama's administration. President Tinubu, who was the special guest at the inauguration of President Mahama and Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, was optimistic that a Mahama-led government would bring progress to Ghanaians. He called for partnership between African countries to improve the lives of its people. President John Mahama has officially begun his tenure as the 6th President of the Republic of Ghana following a historic inauguration ceremony. On his first day in office, President Mahama hit the ground running, engaging with high-level delegations and reaffirming Ghana's commitment to fostering international partnerships. The president began his official duties with focus on fulfilling the promises he made during the electioneering. His first day of duty in his private workroom in cantonment was full of activity, with government officials and staff arriving early to kickstart business. On that same day, President John Mahama reaffirmed his administration's commitment to working closely with the World Bank to accelerate Ghana's economic recovery. He acknowledged the institution's long-standing support, describing the World Bank as a reliable partner in Ghana's development journey. The president made these remarks during a courtesy call by the World Bank Country Director for West and Central Africa, Osmani Diagana, at his private office in Cantonment, Accra, on his first official day in office. President John Dramani Mahama has revoked the appointments of all metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives (MMDCEs) as well as appointed assembly members nationwide. The move comes just a day after his swearing in as Ghana's sixth president on January 7, 2025. A letter signed by Executive Secretary to the President, Dr. Callistus Mahama, communicated the revocation to the Chief Director of the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development in Accra. This decision, which takes immediate effect, is in line with the Local Governance Act 2016, Act 936, as amended by the Local Governance Amendment Act 2017, Act 940. The director requires coordinating directors of the respective metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies (MMDAs) to step in as acting chief executives until new appointments are made.
President John Mahama has assured Ghanaians that his administration is committed to resolving the looming threat of power outages, addressing concerns about the possibility of doomsday power cuts. President Mahama urged Ghanaians not to despair, emphasizing that his government is determined to address the challenges head-on. President Mahama made these remarks at the 92nd Annual National Convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission at Gomoa-Pomazi in the Central Region. President John Mahama has expressed deep gratitude for the trust Ghanaians have placed in him, describing it as both humbling and inspiring. Speaking at the 92nd Annual National Convention of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission at Gomoa-Pomazi in the Central Region, he highlighted justice and peace as the cornerstones of national unity and development. President Mahama assured Ghanaians of the NDC's commitment to fostering justice and treating all citizens with dignity. He further announced plans to establish a committee to organize a national constitutional review conference. The initiative, he said, will serve as an inclusive platform, allowing Ghanaians from all walks of life to actively participate in shaping the country's constitutional future. President John Mahama has nominated Dr. Kazel Atoforson as Finance Minister Designate, Mr. John Abujinapo as Minister Designate for Energy, and Mr. Dominic Aine as Attorney General and Minister for Justice. This was contained in a statement signed by the acting spokesperson for the President, Phyllis Kwachi Ufosu.